OMG. Alice, they're back. WTF, I thought they killed you last week. Yeah, but the instance reset, now they're like totally back to do it on heroic or something. Rag said this might happen. Hang on, I'll text him. OMG, help! Beth'tilac is still a two-phase fight on heroic mode. Phase 1 revolves around splitting DPS into teams and controlling ads, while Phase 2 is yet another DPS burn. On heroic, Beth'tilac has around 98 million HP and will spawn 4 types of ads during the fight: Cinderweb Spinners, Cinderweb Drones, Cinderweb Spiderlings, and Cinderweb Broodlings, with around 310,000, 9,139,000 HP each. Broodlings will not be DPS. You'll want to bring 2 tanks, 5 to 7 healers, and a balanced DPS makeup. Balanced Druids and Death Knights can be strong for this fight, but do not fear if those classes are not available to your raid. This guide will assume that you have completed the encounter on normal difficulty and as such are familiar with the normal mode tactics. For more in-depth coverage of the fight as a whole, please refer to our normal mode strategy guide. Beth does not have any new abilities on heroic mode. She will spawn 1 new type of ad and 2 previous ads have learned a new trick. To start with, the Cinderweb Spinners can now use Fiery Web Spin on a random player, stunning them for 25 seconds. Cinderweb Drones can now fixate random players, causing them to attack only that player for 10 seconds. As stated, on heroic you will be introduced to a 4th ad, the Cinderweb Broodling. These spiders spawn and immediately fixate a random player. When they reach their target or run into any other player, these will explode for moderate fire damage. There are no new abilities in the second phase of the fight. Start off the fight by splitting up the raid properly. On heroic mode, ad control down below is essential. There are 3 paths, or essentially lanes, for the ads to travel. You'll want to assign 1 to 2 DPS and 1 healer to each lane. In these lanes, the DPS will be responsible for AoEing the Spiderlings as well as running into and blowing up all of the Broodlings. Healers in each lane will need to keep themselves alive as well as the 1 or 2 DPS that are there with them. Any Broodlings that sneak past the primary DPS will need to be intercepted by the healer. This is essential because as all of this is going on, the rest of the raid will remain stacked in the center to DPS Spinners and Drones. 1 tank will remain down below throughout phase 1 and take all of the drones. These will behave similar to normal mode, but on heroic each drone will occasionally fixate a random player and run off to attack them. They do less damage while fixating, but players must be ready to run the mob back to the tank. Failing to do this will risk getting the raid caught in the mob's frontal spew or allowing the drone to consume spiderlings. The DPS priority on heroic is spinners, then drones. The spiderlings and broodlings should be handled by their lanes, but the raid should always be ready to AoE down loose spiderlings and move away from broodlings. Your raid will still need to assign a team to travel up top and DPS the boss during this phase. This team will consist of 1 tank, 2 healers, and 3 to 5 DPS. If the raid below can comfortably handle the ads, even more DPS can go up top. The damage in this fight at all times will be greatly increased on heroic difficulty, so healers will need to remain constantly prepared. Just like normal difficulty, Beth'tilac will come down for phase 2 after her 3rd smoldering devastation. Phase 2 is essentially the same as normal mode, but the damage has been vastly increased. Ember Flare damage will start higher and ramp up drastically. If your raid was not able to DPS the boss much during the first phase, a wipe may be imminent. Tanks will still need to taunt off of each other for the Widow's Kiss debuff, and the raid will want to run a stringent cooldown rotation. Leave nothing unused if possible. You'll be brute forcing your way through the end of the encounter. Try to place the stronger cooldowns toward the end of the fight and accompany them with heroism to help healers throughput. There may be a few low percentage wipes before this boss falls over, but this is one of those kills that can oftentimes come down to the wire. Don't give up just because it looks rough. Let phase 2 be the benchmark for your progression. Once you've made it to this point, it's about repeating what you know and squeezing out that little extra DPS. If you enjoyed this guide or found it helpful, remember to bookmark us at LearntoRaid.com, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on JustinTV and Twitter. Thanks for checking us out here at Learn to Raid. As always, we hope this guide was helpful, and we'll see you at the next boss.
I wasn't feeling so good. I just didn't feel like playing anymore. So I went home, and I got all comfy and cozy and all scrunched up in front of my phonograph. And I sat there and I closed my eyes and listened to all the sweet music.